How do you think the commodity sector will impact Indonesia's economy for the rest of 2021 and, of course, 2022?
Commodity prices will continue to upsurge. At the start of the year, we shared with our valued investors that oil prices will stay between $50 and $70. It already happened. In H2, we have shared with our valued investors that oil prices will be trading between $73 and $87 per barrel. So I think not only for this year, but also for next year's commodities are on the upsurge. If you pick up the latest issue of Economist magazine, they've already shared that commodity prices will stay higher as the demand is picking up. Look at coal. Coal is up 97%, oil is up 62%, agriculture prices are up by 31%. So those countries that are commodity based will continue to benefit with the rising oil price, with the rising commodity prices. And this bull run in the commodities will stay for the next 2 to 3 years.
Okay, Mr. Sean, we do know that Indonesia is very rich in terms of natural resources. So how should Indonesia manage its wealth of natural resources? And do you think Indonesia's policy to stop raw material export will be a good beginning to start with?
I think moving forward, more and more countries are going into protectionist policies and they're taking care of the self-interest and national interest first, which is a perfect strategy. Countries are going into regional blocks where they are protected and they want to export more so that they can protect the industries. For protecting the industries, taking care of the labor force, and moving forward, creating job opportunities are some of the key initiatives of various governments. At this point of time, I think Indonesian government has done pretty well in terms of policy framework. Indonesia continues to be on the upsurge. Global investors, they view Indonesia from a very strategic angle because of its regional importance. As you know, Indonesia is a key player in Belt and Road. So in ASEAN region, you have Philippines, Malaysia and Indonesia, which are holding the key for Belt and Road initiative. Plus, along with these countries, Indonesia holds a very strategic geography. So global investors, when they look at Indonesia, they look at the human resource, government's consistent policy framework, and above all, the strategic geography. These are the key things that will keep Indonesia on the global investors' radar.
Okay, moving on, Mr. Sean, what is your view on Indonesia's overall economic situation with the current growth? Do you think Indonesia have a solid foundation to combat the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic?
In my opinion, I think government has done pretty well in terms of handling COVID situation. Yes, initially there were a few hiccups, but at the moment, I think the government has done a pretty good job. They have maintained macroeconomic stability. So when I talk about macroeconomic stability, it encompasses political, financial, and economic stability. Right? At the moment, if you see, you have got a strategic investment from UAE, which will be doing $32 billion. So which is a very positive signal, not only for Indonesia, but also for global player, that UAE is quite big. One of the solar companies, Masdar, is signing agreement with Pertamina. That is massive. So I think moving forward, global investors, they view Indonesia as a very stable country. We have already shared with our valued investors in terms of monetary and fiscal outlook. The country outlook is pretty stable. Rupiah continues to maintain structural stability. The central bank, despite global economic fragilities in the system, they have done a pretty good job. So I think overall, macroeconomic stability, economic confidence are back in the limelight, which are very important for global investors.